we do have one of the applicants is here, and you can address that.
Okay.
Express your concern, Ms. Johnson. Do you want to come on up, please? Do you want to come on up, please?
Well, I mean, it's, you can do it however you want. I'm just worried about, the roads and traffic and, it reflects back onto our road department and stuff. And so that's my only concern.
Excuse me, in regards to your comment, is that part of the discussion in the P and Z? Application, permitting, period?
No, that's not,
Okay.
what we have is more site specific because planning and zoning can make recommendations based upon the site. Anything off the site like that, you can't really condition, people have to come down this road.
No, you can't. I agree with you
in
about
order
that.
in order to get there. But I think that that's something to advise the applicants if they say do an ad or do something. Say
Or when you're
we
when
recommend
you're
this route.
when you're visiting with your people, I mean, doesn't really make me any difference, but I just am concerned because if they come up on 116th Street, that's not a 116th Avenue. What is it, Street Avenue? It's not it's a secondary road, and yes, and so then all of a sudden people are going to be coming back. That why is this road so rough? And farm to market road, I mean that's good. You only got 2 miles to come to the east from there.
You want to come forward, Brandy?
Yeah, come on up. Yeah, name just your name and address, please.
My name and address,
Yeah.
Brandy Johnson, 11771 31st Street, Southwest Dickinson.
And that's I don't know if anybody, but that's the only concern I have is
Sure.
and the people's safety too. If it's a rough road or if they're going.
The easiest, well, the easiest route for people who aren't familiar with the area, just go straight north to South Hart, 5
It
miles.
is, yes.
And then 3 miles.
But
to
people
the
from
east.
Dickinson are going to say, well, we just got
Right.
off 116th Street because that's halfway from going all the way to
I'm
South
open to
Hart.
whatever you'd suggest.
I mean, it's your business. You can do it all you want.
Well,
it's-
not
I mean, they
really.
can come from Natick for all I know. I mean,
yes, they
get
can
there
come
that
from
way.
Natick or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my only concern is reflection back onto our road department.
Maybe on your venue, you could just put down the address. That's the safest address of north of South Hart. And maybe more people will take that.
For directions to come out there, that might be an idea
Sure.
on your.
Sure, yeah. Whatever you guys like.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else?
No, you have to stand there till Steve's just on.
Take the load off.
I make a motion to Stark County Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of CUP 01-22 for Brandy and Michael Johnson request subject to the conditions listed above for a banquet hall and or reception hall, conditional use permit as it meets the goals, objections, implications of strategies for the Stark County Comprehensive Plan and all the requirements of Stark County Planning and Zoning ordinance, and also be in the best interest of public safety, health, and welfare.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Franchek,
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Zander,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you. The second item that the Planning and Zoning Commission made a recommendation was for RZ 0422, and that's Todd and Tanis Marshner. They're requesting a rezoning from agriculture to rural residential, and their parcel is, well, I'll just tell you, it's 116th, and it's part of a 70-acre parcel that's just north of Martin Construction, and they just want to take off approximately, it's 6.91 acres, and put a house on it. They own the entire piece, but for financing, they want a smaller, they need to get a smaller piece for that. Both staff and Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. We received no comments either prior to the meeting or at the public hearing, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Josephson?
You said this is just north of Martin on the same side of the road?
Right, and it's actually, there's a 70-acre piece north of Martin Construction, and if you go to the northern portion of that property, then this is part of that.
Okay. It's kind of on the downslope of the hill then?
It's right behind, it's right behind you on the monitor. If you go in,
I can't see a hill though. There's, whatever. I know where it's at. That's fine.
yeah, they're right in there.
Right. Okay.
Just Just a quick question, Steve. In your executive summary, you state that the applicant intends to sell his property to family members with the intent of developing it with a single-family resident. That's not a restriction. So
No,
if that
that's
ever gets
just,
sold again, it's open free market.
yeah, that's not a restriction. That's, we put that in there so the commissioners know why this is up. No, the only restrictions that would apply are those in the zoning code and any other county regulations. Permitting and so on, building code and so on.
Any other questions? If not, I'd look for a motion.
I move the Stark County Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of RZ 0-04-22, the Todd and Tanis Marshner rezoning petition from A to RR as meeting the goals, objectives, and implementations of strategies of the Stark County Comprehensive Plan, all according to the Stark County zoning ordinance, and also best interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
Second.
Got a motion and second? Roll call vote. Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Zander.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you. We'll notify the applicants of the board, of the commission's action.
Okay. And Steve, I also had on yours too,
I heard.
I know Neil had talked to you, or Commissioner Messer talked to you a little bit too, about the properties south of town.
Yeah, in the extraterritorial zone.
Yes.
Yeah, do you have an address for that? I don't recall having spoken to Ms. Erlacher, but I guess apparently they contacted the city about this, and the city said it was outside their jurisdiction. They do have zoning jurisdiction, the extraterritorial zone, so I'm not sure who they talked to over there. But if I can get some details, I'll get with the Building and Code Enforcement Department.
Okay.
And make them aware of this. I don't know if they've been speaking with her at all, but I can follow up and let you know.
Because she
what's going
said,
on.
she had made comment that she had called the county and the county told her to call the city. So then she called the city and then the city had told her it's the counties and it's just getting worse and
I
worse.
hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Bad back and forth and
Especially since you work for both entities, they could just have them call you and go from there.
I mean, it's a-
I think
it's-
sometimes what happens is as soon as someone gets an address and they just say, oh, that's not in the city, and I don't think they mean anything like they're avoiding it,
yes.
but the first contact, they usually don't get past, sometimes I'm only speculating right now.
Yep.
But yes, give me all the details about it and,
So I have pictures and
yeah,
everything.
pictures, address, legal description, and I'll get with city staff
Okay,
about that.
okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. On to the courthouse mechanical.
Madam Chairman, I'll bring Mike forth and he can kind of go through what we've tried to accomplish here.
Yeah, so we put out for advertisement for engineer for the courthouse mechanical replacement or repair. And we had the interviews, and I did not get on the slideshow, but Prairie Engineering, Neil, Dean, and then Ms. Richards was invited to the interviews, but that's who we decided to go with, recommend Prairie Engineering,
Where are they from?
Bismarck.
Okay,
Yeah, and they've done all the work in this courthouse in the past.
okay.
I haven't found
They've
any
done
other
a
blueprints, so.
tremendous amount of work for the public school system.
Yeah.
They're well versed. We just, the issue, as most people know, is that we have a 80-year-old mechanical system that needs to be fixed, and so we got to figure out the best way to do it.
Yeah,
And so this is the first process, is to engage them.
yeah. And we're gonna need to go from there how far we wanna go with it.
And that mechanical, that's including that boiler?
Both boiler, well, yes, it will include the boilers, the lines, registers in the air
Potentially both
system. It's
boilers.
potentially all of it. We really, this is just a choose, that's who we're gonna go with.
Okay.
And then we need to talk about numbers and plans. So,
So do we have any numbers right now or anything, or just nothing like
No.
that? Just the,
we did a, kind of a, I don't know, not a preliminary, budget with them this spring,
fall.
this fall. And we brought that up to the commission, and there was 3 phases we could do, and they gave us some just general numbers of what we were looking at. So
okay,
now it's time to get into the details.
okay.
So what,
And
if
hard
you're going
numbers.
to be accepting Prairie Engineering as our engineering firm, can you also accept that the fees would be paid out of our capital improvements fund? Because that's where it would need to.
Well, I believe so. I think another option would be ARPA funds. The second half that comes in would be a perfectly qualified opportunity, but I think that's for the board. You know, they did the initial survey, Prairie did the initial survey last fall, kind of gave us a 3-legged, synopsis saying, here's some budgetary numbers. If you just Band-Aid it, it's X. If you come in and keep the boilers and do a system, it's X. And then if you go in and do what probably should be done, it's, it's another number. And so we came in front of the commission, I believe, in December for authorization to do the RFP. That was authorized. This is the result of that RFP.
Do we have the numbers of the Band-Aid compared to this or that? I mean,
Well, I mean, we have I'll let Mike answer the question, but
Yeah, we have them. They're generic,
yeah,
It's 350, 300,000, about 700,000, and then about 1.5 million.
And I think I have that sheet. I can resend it out because I think the last time it was sent out was probably in December.
Yeah.
so we are approving the engineer company, but we don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to totally,
Well, things have changed, costs have gone up, timetables on getting things, so that's kind of all fluctuating from December to now.
Yeah.
So
so
we can't.
I'm just
really-
saying
I
like,
think I can answer your questions.
Okay.
Because I know where you're going with this. So their fee is based on 9% of the cost of the project. The project can take any one of those 3 options. And if they come in with the one that we don't like, they still get 9% of whatever that estimated cost is. If we run this through and we don't like the $1.X million project and we want to go with the middle option, we can still do it. Their fee would be based at 9% of that. But it's kind of give and take, because anybody who's remodeled a home knows you only get to the information once you start digging into it. And it's unfortunate, older buildings, the way they, did these mechanicals, because everything's buried in concrete and.
Buried and permanent, yeah.
Very, yeah. And anybody who went downstairs in this last winter know that we kept it quite warm and quite humid downstairs, so.
So we probably won't see our first invoice for this until next.
At earliest, yeah.
Meeting.
So the
Okay.
yeah. So
So
the
I don't need to worry
timescale
about
is we
that
want
yet.
to design this. They have to design it. They have to do more survey, and then they would go out for some preliminary numbers and bring those back to us. There's no way this is a 2022 project. It's
No.
a 2023
And to
project.
get the materials, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah, I
over
mean,
the
it's just-
winter.
okay,
So many
Okay.
challenges.
And you can't start it until those boilers are shut down. Like right now, they're still running for, so we can probably shut them down a little earlier in the spring, maybe.
so are we just looking on an approval to
Except, yeah.
accept
To
Prairie
have
Engineer?
you sign the contract with Prairie Engineering. So I will make that motion unless there's other questions.
Okay, motion, who seconded that? Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Messer, second by Commissioner Zander. Commissioner Messer?
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek?
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh? Commissioner Zander?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried.
Okay.
Then
But-
on to the courthouse front entrance.
Can you flip it? So I started working on this about a year and a half ago. Then things just got super busy, and it wasn't a critical thing at the moment. We did have an engineer look at it at that time and give me some notes on it. And as I've done the bidding and talked to construction workers, they don't really want, it's all handwork. And they're really requesting that I get a architectural scope of work, not necessarily have them do the bidding and anything like that, but just so that there's slopes and ADA requirements and just a nice scope of work for the bidding. You can see here with the stone steps, they are starting to tilt back. Any water that is on that stoop comes forward and sits, freezes. And that had been an issue. This spring, I have found where that stone comes from, and it's from St. Cloud, Minnesota. And the quarry is still there, and we can still get that stone. Nobody, I have talked to a few, they will remove the steps, but they are not comfortable with setting them back. I contacted, is it GT Architect downtown, and good thing I did, because they know that company, and they are actually working with that company in town this summer. So I I'm kind of asking for the 11,000 that they're asking for to give me a complete scope of work with drawings and all that, in order to get proper, even bids. And that everything we want done and this fixed is in that, so there isn't all the, different ideas of what the
So the
contractors
steps
want.
that are gonna be taken out, they don't wanna put those back in?
Those will go back in.
Okay.
They just need to be reset
Okay,
and sloped and properly installed. Now you see this picture here, the slab below the steps has settled, and we've got about a 3-inch gap there. So that slab needs to be brought up, re-poured and brought up for our tread depth. And then the top slab is a floating concrete slab with a rubber membrane underneath it. That'll all have to be hand jackhammered and hauled out. That you can't put any equipment. That slab is actually on top of a room. So you can't bring any equipment up there. It's not built to hold that weight. So that's all gonna be wheelbarrow and crowbars.
are there any grants available, since this is the courthouse? It's
I have
historic
not
almost.
heard much.
I mean, this is a historical building, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at one time, I know they did that for, we can check into that. But
This is, Mike, is this not more of a maintenance?
yeah, it's more just a,
You know, when you think about it, those steps have been in there since 1935 or 1936, and
yeah.
that whole area. And so when you
I
think
know,
about 70 years, you've exceeded the life expectancy of that concrete.
and I know that slab on top had been replaced, and I had talked to Dean about it. Yeah, do you remember about what, 70s?
No, I can't remember well if anyone did.
But, so there's rubber membrane underneath there is that age as well. So, historical value, I don't know if it would be like a historical upkeep. It's more just a replacement of that. And we're not gonna be changing out the steps or making any improvements to it, just making it new.
Well, I would think also that the engineers would have some
Yeah, and we can,
knowledge on that, whether or not it's something we can pursue on the grant. If it is, we certainly can. I think what we're asking for today is for authorization for the 11,000
get the scope
to
of work.
architect this, and because we've talked about things as as broad scoped as what happens upon removal of the step if you break one of those granite slabs. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to handle that in those? So that's all the things that we kind of want to address here.
Yeah, and that scope of work would really help with.
Okay. And those granite slabs you said are still available too, though?
Yes,
So
I
it's
did
good.
contact
Okay.
the company. I sent them pictures, and yes, they said that stone is still being quarried today.
Good.
So,
Okay, then I'd be looking for a motion for the $11,000 for Prairie.
One real quick question, I guess. So this 11 is actually over and above what his, Mike's
oh, yes.
maintenance budget would be, so I would want us to discuss where we're going to take it. But I think this is an ARPA qualified project, depending on the consensus of the other commissioners. But I would move that we at least initially authorize the engagement of the architect, GT Architect, for the $11,000 proposal that they supplied us.
I know we have that ARPA, there's some of that funding still kind of hanging out there for the small cities. You know, I guess I would think we should take it out of capital improvement, just so we don't run short on that ARPA.
I don't care, it's something we need to do, so.
The only other thing would be is if there was a grant or something available
Yep.
that might
You're
push
not
us
gonna
into
find
that
a
next
grant on
year. But I don't think there is, but I mean, if something is like, oh yeah, then it might push us, but
'Kay.
just to let you guys know.
Okay.
So is the motion include the funding source being capital improvement? Is that part of your motion?
For the 11,000, sure, yes.
And then I'll second that.
And I'll come back with the construction bids.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 11,000 coming out of capital improvement. Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek,
Aye.
Commissioner Zander,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Stark County part-time positions.
I wasn't really sure what the commission wanted to talk about with this. It was added to the agenda, but I did add from Joetta, just in your packets, the chapter about what is a regular part-time versus part-time employee and the differences in benefits and hours. I'm just not really sure what we are, and also temporary, it has them all listed there towards the back of your packets.
Right here.
After the engineering.
Okay. I think on some of the I think we were looking at a few of the department heads that do not have, or departments that do not have anybody underneath them that they are in training. And where we don't want to get into that. Again, like we did before, like with the auditor or anybody else in any other department, if they decide to up and quit, where would it leave us? And if we would want to open any positions part-time, if there was available for those departments for training? I know I talked about it with a few of the other commissioners also. I mean, we have a few departments that, I know that Ms. Ingolstead, you're opening up right now a position just in case for witness protection, right?
Yeah, that one's, I've opened it up, and just gonna see what kind of, interest is out there and, having some conversations with our current one, correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because-
is this for informational purpose?
Yes.
Discussion primarily?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, and I also look at the Veterans Department, and I also look at the Tax Department. I mean, do we have people that are training underneath them, so if something would happen, that we have somebody that would have some knowledge to step up? And do we want to add any of these positions on? I mean, yes, it would have to go on to next year's budget. I just think we're leaving ourselves a little bit open by not having anybody training under these departments.
Chair Arthod, maybe we let everybody look it over, and then for next year's budgets, we see where we're at, dollar amount wise for each department, and then whoever the portfolio holder, if they think that we can bring it forward at the budget time, if we think we want to add some of these full or part-time positions to cover. If you're open to that.
Yes, I am.
But at least then everybody can see kind of what the differences are between a regular full-time, a regular part-time, a temporary, and they can see that. I know that we only have 2 regular part-time employees at the county, and their vacation and sick are prorated by the hours they work. Our temporary employees obviously do not receive benefits, and neither do the part-time employees that are just labeled part-time, but our regular part-time do qualify for benefits. And then we prorate their sick and vacation on the amount of hours they work, if that helps a little bit.
So if someone's hired regular, part-time, those hours can vary, but they need to exceed 20 or more hours per week to qualify and be maintained as a regular part-time employee, correct?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And they are still eligible for, with 20 or more hours, they're still eligible for the full benefit package?
For the benefits, yes.
Prorated.
Prorated?
No, the benefits they get, you know, they're eligible for our insurance and retirement and everything. The part that's prorated is just their sick days and vacation days.
Retirement, though, is calculated based on wages.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that kind of qualifies under the prorated part. So the discussion and the consensus would be, are you gonna offer full-time health insurance to a regular part-time employee, correct?
Yes,
So-
that is a question.
Yep, so
Yep.
if I work for the county and work 22 hours a week, I get the same health benefit as the individual who's putting in 40.
Correct.
Got it, okay, thanks.
If you're considered regular part-time.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I think this is something that just to be bring up and look at it and see what we agree with and what we don't, and see if we can add any to those departments.
We have about 5 minutes.
It's not necessary then to take any action,
No,
or just discussion,
yep,
any input that we individually may have, we should just get that to Karen or Joetta or,
yeah.
okay.
Or talk to your portfolio holders, you know,
And Ken, I think when we sit down, even when we go through the budgets, you know, like, for example, if we're choosing veterans, that's your portfolio. When me, you, and Jessica sit down, maybe we can look at if that's something we can do in the budget this year, and then it's gonna come before the full commission, everybody can see and make some choices.
Thank you.
Just yours, for example.
well, we got,
Al's not back with his recommendation. We can tackle that.
No,
because we're done.
no, we got the policy discussion, but that might take more than 5 minutes.
That's, yeah, that would. Well, we just have one more item, but that's going to take longer than 5 minutes, I believe. So we are probably going to just hold off here for 5 minutes until we open up the 11 a.m. abatements. So we'll take a 5-minute break.